For quite a while, I've wanted to do top 5s again on this channel, and I just really haven't gotten around to it due to time and kind of the editing work that ends up going into these videos, but they are some of my favorites. So today, in the spirit of Arkham, I wanted to actually go back to our roots on this channel and do a top 5 focused on the Batman Arkham series, because we just finished playing through Batman Arkham Asylum over on our other channel, Degenerate Plays, one of many channels linked in the description down below, which is a podcast style Let's Play channel. So my wife Jill and I just played through the game there. I thought, what better time than now to actually talk about the 5 best moments, or our 5 favorite moments that we had replaying Batman Arkham Asylum. 5 things that really stood out to us, especially on revisiting, that I think maybe I didn't appreciate quite as much the first time through, but now I'm just realizing how fun these specific moments are. Also, before we get started today, I do want to draw your attention really quick to the fact that we do have channel memberships and Patreon available. If you want access to exclusive videos, there are quite a few over there. And Jill actually just started her own art account, which I think is really cool, which is over on X or Twitter, which is Cosmic Magics, where she's actually been doing a lot of different superheroes and different stuff like that. She redid my channel icon for the Let's Play channel, and as well just drew Storm, which I thought was really, really cool. So you want to check that out, the link will be in the description. We always appreciate you. Let's hop right into the list with a question of the day. What is your favorite moment in Arkham Asylum? Number 5. So the first one for me, it actually reminds me of a moment from Fallout 3. And there's a lot of different games that have this. I think Elder Scrolls Oblivion also has one, which is stepping out into the actual world of the game for the first time. And in that, in this case for Arkham, that's actually stepping out onto Arkham Island. Now, you obviously spend a lot of the game in buildings, from things like intensive treatment, all the way to Arkham Manor itself, or Arkham Mansion itself, I should say. But in general, there is also a fair amount of the world that involves you going around behind these buildings, going through Arkham Island itself, traveling under the island, basically actually stepping outside of the building and seeing what Arkham Island is for the very first time, seeing the Arkham guards walking around and patrolling, and getting the call involving the Batmobile, realizing, oh, I am actually kind of stuck here. You are on an island and you can't really just leave. You can't just leave these people to their fate. You can't just leave Joker to do whatever he's doing in the course of the game in order to affect Gotham City. This is kind of one of those moments where I feel like it's both a combination of the open world style feeling where you step out into a world for the first time and see it, like I said, like Fallout, but also a combination of that with the idea of being stuck somewhere, of isolation. Something that Arkham does a very, very good job with in Arkham Asylum is that being almost claustrophobic and realizing that there isn't just a way to grapple away from danger. There isn't a way to just call in the Batmobile or the Bat Tank. I love those games. I'm just saying it's a very different feeling than just being able to grapnel boost away. You can't do that. You're stuck here with these inmates, and it's up to you to essentially set this situation right. And stepping out into the world of Arkham Island sets the tone for that for the rest of the game. Number 4. It's the 4th one.
4.
Finding the Batcave. And I should say it's not the main Batcave in the Arkham world, but it is one that establishes a lot of lore. It's not even the best Batcave in the Arkham world. In fact, this is probably the worst Batcave in all of the Arkham games. I mean, you have challenge maps that take place in the Batcave that have a lot of Easter eggs and fun stuff. You have different, like Arkham Origins, a huge portion of the game revolves around the Batcave. This isn't the best Batcave by any means, but it is the first Batcave you encounter chronologically in the series, and it also establishes just the intellect, and I would say the amount of planning that Batman does. This is a auxiliary Batcave. This is like a hidden, secret, second Batcave under Arkham Island in case this exact very thing, this type of breakout, this type of lunacy, happens. Bruce had already set this up ahead of time. Again, another element of Batman thinking ahead. And being able to actually go in there, you go to, I believe it was called Dead Man's Point. My memory is always terrible with names. And gliding down through a cutscene, ending up on a little outcropping where you head into a cave, get scanned, and you enter the Batcave for the first time, and you're able to go on the Bat computer. I feel like this is something that really stands out, especially in a first playthrough, but just in general, even knowing the storyline of the games, knowing later Batcaves, this being like a step into the shoes of who Bruce Wayne or Batman is, and seeing that element of his mind ahead of time. I really, really like how they establish that in this game, and even though there's not a lot to do in the Batcave, it's one of the few places in the game that just kind of feels like a safe zone, where nobody can really get there, nobody can really mess with Batman. This is just his domain. I loved that moment, and I loved being able to find that in the game. Number three. Facing off with Bane. Now, Bane might not be the most interesting in this game to a lot of people. I personally prefer the Arkham Origins version of this character, where he's a little more methodical, a little more thought-provoking. But in terms of Bane, I love a lot of the elements that happen in the game around his boss battle. Now, his boss battle in many ways is kind of the same as fighting someone on Titan. It's just a little bit more of like a drawn-out version of it, but I think the boss battle itself is not really the moment. I think the moment is discovering Bane being pumped dry of venom. Pause. You know what I'm saying here, he was being pumped dry. And then realizing what is actually creating the Titan, realizing that there's more going on here than just Joker brutalizing some Arkham staff, that there was essentially a conspiracy going on ahead of time to create this Project Titan, and then facing off with Bane and hitting a point where if he beats you, he redoes the backbreak. You know, he actually redoes that moment from Nightfall where he breaks Batman's back. You can see that in a game over screen, but also the fact that he attempts to do that in a cutscene when fighting Batman, but Batman's prepared and calls in the Batmobile remotely, which had already been damaged previously in, you know, first stepping out onto the island when you had to defend it from thugs. He calls that in and it just annihilates Bane, completely takes him out and knocks him into the water. Now, this probably could have killed anyone else. I'm sure Batman knew that it would not kill Bane. I've seen some people try to point this out as a plot hole before, like, oh, Batman just totally tried to murk Bane here, just take him out. I don't really think he was trying to kill Bane at all. I think he knew what Bane was capable of, the fact that he was basically hopped up on steroids, and that he was going to survive this, and this was his chance to get out. But actually having this entire moment here where you take him on, you prevent the bat break again, and end up seeing him just get annihilated by the Batmobile and sent into the water, I thought was really, really awesome. Number two, the numero dos. Discovering the identity of the Spirit of Arkham. Now, this is a moment that I think a lot of people who don't 100% games probably missed. You know, maybe they did some of the Spirit of Arkham entries and then they kind of moved on, thought, oh yeah, this is neat, okay, cool, but I don't really care that much about Amadeus Arkham. I care more about what's happening now, and maybe they just kind of moved on after it. They might not have actually seen who the Spirit of Arkham really is in the modern day, which is Quincy Sharp. Now, this is interesting because you encounter Quincy a couple times throughout the game and you don't really know anything nefarious about him. He just kind of seems like an old man who manages this asylum maybe a little poorly. Maybe maybe it wasn't handled the best, is kind of like how you view him. But over the course of the game, as you find these hidden chronicles of Arkham, you actually scan them, you hear more about them, and you find out more and more and more. About around the midway point of these chronicles of Arkham, it starts to change a little. You start to feel a little bit of a sense of, this sounds more like the character is talking about modern day villains. Maybe not talking about people from the past, but referring to characters like Poison Ivy, talking about sickly green skin. I mean, hey, we also know that the Spirit of Arkham has bad taste, just from that alone, because Ivy is really hot, okay? Ivy is one of the hottest girls in the Arkham series. She's gorgeous, okay? And the Spirit of Arkham is out here slandering our girl. Ridiculous. The Spirit of Arkham can't appreciate waifus. But along with learning that he has terrible taste in women, We also start to hear these references to modern day villains, especially the Joker over time, and kind of seeing from an outside perspective how Harley Quinn was seduced by the Joker, even as, you know, Quincy, or the Spirit of Arkham, I should say, saw one of their meetings from the outside, and how he was planning to try to kill the Joker and all these different things. Eventually you hit the point where you've scanned all these chronicles and you're told to come and find the Spirit of Arkham, and you go to where Quincy was and you find these writings scrawled on the ground. And that essentially establishes that the Spirit of Arkham, at least in the modern day, was Quincy Sharp. Now, if you actually go over the lore of the game, it essentially breaks down that Quincy had a form of schizophrenia that kind of led to him developing almost a second personality. You can also get into the idea of Scarface. Like, is there a supernatural element to this at all? Is it just him being obsessed? I would say a little bit of that is up to you. But in general, it's kind of this schizophrenic turn where he adopts another personality. I found this very fascinating, and it was probably one of the more interesting lore elements in the original Batman Arkham Asylum.
Number 1! Splat.
The final moment for me was actually meeting my parents. Now, I know, a round of applause for a lot of people. A lot of people act like they've never met their parents. A lot of people probably have never met their parents. I mean, Bruce Wayne, he has not met his parents in many, many years, unfortunately, due to what happened to him in Crime Alley. But Scarecrow here, Jonathan Crane, does you such a nice favor by pumping you full of hallucinogenic gas in order to essentially create your fears and heighten them. And during one of these ambushes, Bruce actually encounters his own parents, Thomas and Martha Wayne. And you might think, oh, that sounds wholesome. Maybe you had like a nice little moment with them. No, not at all. You are essentially in the morgue and you have to go up to these body bags and open them while hearing whispers and all these different things in the background previous to this. And you have to go face to face with your parents, Thomas and Martha Wayne, who are very visibly dead corpses, who berate Batman and essentially tell him that he's a failure and he could have saved them. But then the final body bag is weird. I mean, the whole thing was leading up to this in general. You do see different flashes that kind of show Batman thinking people died. You see different hallucinations that go to Crime Alley, and it makes sense, you know, it would lead to this moment. But who could that final bag be? Is it Bruce? I mean, there were 3 people in the alley, right? No, it's Scarecrow again with a jump scare. I love this moment so much, and this moment to me is one of many moments that proves that Batman is such a good vessel for psychological horror. Whether it's from the end of a criminal, you know, like from that standpoint that you're seeing Batman, like in the Arkham Origins multiplayer where you're seeing Batman pick people off, or it's just Batman himself dealing with these crazy people, you do see how the world of Batman lends itself to a almost psychotic type of horror. You know, and you can do it with or without blood and gore. There's many different ways to do it. I think they got very, very creative for a T-rated game with how they incorporated Scarecrow in the game. And this moment of running into essentially your parents and then Scarecrow out of nowhere, this moment really captures that feeling of horror, I think, and that almost atmosphere of Arkham Asylum itself that is partially almost a horror game. So these were the 5 best moments that I found replaying Batman Arkham Asylum. Who knows? Let me know if you like this video. I might do more videos just like this. I would love to go back to top 5s, not just with Arkham, but with other games. But the Arkham ones are very fun because there's just so much going on in the games. If you want to support this channel, we have our Fortnite code, which is DJAY123. That helps us out a lot. Jill's new art Twitter, which we're hoping will kind of go places over time. Cosmic Magics, that is fantastic. I will include that in the description down below. And finally, our own store, CosmoBunny.shop, where we make coasters, keychains, trays, and more made out of recycled paper from comic books, manga, magazines, and more that have been damaged. We save that damaged paper, the damaged book, we give parts of it a new life, and then recycle the rest. Discount code DJAY123 for 10% off your first purchase. And of course, as well, we are going to be at the Eau Claire Comic Con coming up actually in just about a month here, where we're going to have some of our stuff in person. So if you're able to make it out there to Wisconsin, we always appreciate you. Otherwise, we do obviously a ton of orders online, and we appreciate those of you who support that because it helps this channel out a lot. So thank you very much. Let me know what else you want to see. Let me know your favorite moment that you had. And our Let's Play is over on Degenerate Plays, where we just finished playing the game if you're interested. Have a fantastic day, and as always, everyone, stay shway.